Hey guys, welcome back to more AFK Arena. In today's video, we are checking out a Melion. There's a couple combos that I wanted to test with this guy, so I jumped into the guild trials. I've only been playing for about 20 minutes, but I wanted to give you guys some early testing, early impressions, early combos that I think are pretty cool that this guy might be able to do. In general, I still think this is going to be a pretty decent hero, but more of a luxury hero because the dragon systems, in my opinion, are just not like what they should be. But maybe I'll do a whole video talking about how the dragon, I would have liked the dragons implemented, but in general, getting these guys, especially even though you got a wish list, but there's 5 spots on it, there's only 4 of them, it's just an absolute nightmare to go ahead and target things. And it's the cost of stargazing. So it's like, it's like to be stargazing for these guys would be, with your 5,000 diamonds, would be more reliable at getting the copies you need of the specific one once you only want one, because you're basically using 5,000 diamonds per pull with a 30 pity, but you got a 1 in 4 chance of hitting it. Anyway, I digress. Let's take a look at this guy. So obviously the first team that I came up with, I wanted to use him with Gwyneth. Now we are using level 750 enemies. On global server, people often push above this, but I ain't spending hours trying to get it done. I just wanted to take a look at a couple teams. So the first one we're looking at is the idea of using him with Gwyneth. I feel like he was catered made for Gwyneth. He puts them in the line with Gwyneth. He massively buffs Draconis hero with the highest attack, and he buffs basic attack damage and stuff like that. And it's just catered made to Gwyneth. So in this one, what I decided to do was put Gwyneth in the front row with Ulna just for easy survivability until we start ramping up the rest of the stuff. Now, the other thing that I wanted to test in this one is something that doesn't really apply just to Gwyneth. It just helped with the control and survival in this team and getting the enemies away from Gwyneth so that Ulna could sort of properly tank along with the dancing duo. But the idea of the dancing duo with this guy means you can put the enemies in a tight little ball. Melion will put the enemies in a line, but then with the dancing duo pushing them all back, then when you put them into a line, they're actually in a tight little ball. So those narrow AoEs can work better on that sort of stuff as well. Also really good for Melion's little circular field thing that he puts up where you want to get them inside 3 fields eventually so that they can't generate energy, they can't heal, and they can't use ultimates. And that's the kind of play that I think he could have like really cool synergies with the dancing duo in that aspect. But once again, this team is basically here just for that. We got Bubbles in here, just Bubbles for the extra survivability was pretty much the play. So let's take a look at this one. Now, as you see, we're gonna, what do we do first? Do we knock them back or do we group them up? Okay, so we use Gwyneth. Okay, so now dude, you can't see shit. Wait, let me restart and let me slow it down because you just cannot see any animations when you're on full-time speed at the moment. It's just like the game just can't process it. All right, so we're doing standard stuffs. So there comes the Gwyneth ult. Okay, here's the walls. You can see the walls up there. Boom, straight in line with Gwyneth now. They're all in line with Gwyneth. Then we do the knockback from the dancing duo. That wasn't even the ult knockback. That was just like the kicking the furthest enemy. So now they're all in a pretty group. They start spreading out, but now we're going to use Melion again. We're going to drag them back together. And as you can see, they're going to go doosh. Where is it? Did it already happen? And now, like, you can see, like, they're all in the crystal. They're all in those spheres. And it's just pretty much happy days. It's just a really solid way to control the enemy team and get them into, like I said, just a nice little bundle. And you can see the stun capacity in this team with the enemies. You can see the stun rings. You can see they're off now. So you get that, they get that little break. Now they're all stunned again. And you do get pretty decent lockout with this kind of team. But in general, I think this combo with Gwyneth is going to be a nice combo. I think that's what it was catered made for. So I'm keen to see what people find, in the more competitive modes, like with the usage of Gwyneth. On my new account, I'm hoping I can pull a Gwyneth somehow, because if I can, then I can use a trial version of Gwyneth because of that event, plus a trial version of this guy, and that would make up my 3rd team. So we'll see how we go. But that's what you're kind of looking at there. Now, that battle finished with 20 seconds left. Just for like a little damage comparison, because I was curious on it, I tested it with Awakened Belinda, who was actually in this team. So if I take Belinda out and I put her into this team, I was curious to test the timer. So the Gwyneth team, I'm pretty sure, was like a 20-second completion, and I just wanted to check a damage output. But keeping in mind, Belinda is normally used in a much different team to this, and she's normally hyper buffed, and that's where she gets her intense damage from. And also, Melion is more effective for buffing Gwyneth in the catered made to amplify Gwyneth's damage as you know, like that's that is the character that really benefits. Any character is going to benefit from it, but obviously you've got the additional Dracona's buffs that Gwyneth is getting. So Gwyneth gets buffed massively. So I just wanted to do a bit of a damage comparison here on time. Once again, it's not like a perfect test, but you can see that the Belinda team still does it in 18 seconds. So it's a 2 seconds difference, but you're missing out on a massive portion of buffing. So the raw damage out of Belinda compared to Gwyneth still feels impactful, but you know, it is nice to have, you know, the Gwyneth synergy in there, and you know, the different controlling aspects of it as well. As we move on to this next team, so this next team was something I wanted to experiment with. Also in this, if you're wondering why I've got like some scuffed teams, I can't actually equip artifacts. There's some bug in guild trials and I can't change or equip any artifacts. So normally in this, if something's not working, you just change an artifact and it changes the RNG a little bit, but I literally cannot put artifacts on or change artifacts. Honestly, guild trials is getting a bit scuffed now because you don't have beasts, you don't have collections. It's getting like really scuffed. So hopefully they can update it to involve that sort of stuff, because you're not really getting a proper test out of these characters anymore. But this next team that I wanted to look at was basically using the floppy Mulan combo. Now this, you guys know from when these guys came out, this has been like one of my favorite combos. Normally I run it with Atheus because Atheus offers that complete control lockout aspect of it, because you then group them up. You've got Mulan doing decent damage and also helping with the control, and then normally it's Atheus putting them in the cage and basically locking them out. But I wanted to separate Atheus out of this team because I figured with Melion we had a bit more control. Now I did also put the Thescu into this one for that added little bit of control, just because I thought I haven't used Thescu in a while and I wanted to show him some love. So I did actually try a bunch of other heroes in that slot where Thescu is, and they were all failing, and then we got the RNG with Thescu. So let's take a look at this one. Once again, the grouping and control capabilities. Now you might think, yes, it's overkill on the grouping because you don't really need the walls coming in when you've already got them grouped and stuff, but it just helps with the lockout and just keeping those enemies controlled. And then we put the Awakened Antandra in here, and holy shit, the Awakened Antandra just does a truckload of damage in this kind of team where she can just have free reign. So you can see she actually nukes that team super quick with a ton of damage. When we consider the fact that back in the day Mulan was doing pretty heavy damage, I am liking what I'm seeing out of the Awakened Antandra. I did try and put her into this first team for damage comparison, but she just died and I gave up on it. So the next thing that I came up with, and this was when I decided to stop building, because those were the two main things that I really wanted to test, that were the first things on my mind, which was the Gwyneth comp with him, and then also using the floppy Mulan, but you know, using some different options in that kind of team. I think, you know, we do have some decent usage out of this guy that we will get. Those were the main two I wanted to try. Then it would just came to, and it always gets to this point with guild trials, where then you're like, okay, let's just use the meta team or the meta characters and clear it. So I jumped into this one with Belinda, and as you can see, Melion dies in like the first few seconds, and then it's literally just watch Belinda slap. But yeah, so I kind of gave up past here, because besides that, when I was looking to construct teams for the final enemies, there was nothing creative that I was going into. It was just going to be like Immortal team and Charm team or something like that, and that was going to be it. I didn't have any other fancy ideas that could work. But once again, I was pretty happy with the way this Gwyneth type team worked. Now, I was testing out if I could do it without the ulna. It just became too much stress to try and figure something out, basically. Like I tried around with using like the Brutus, the Awakened Brutus, but I couldn't quite get it done. Let's just go ahead and slap something like this in, because it would be nice to get away without the ulna, which I definitely think you can, but as you can see there, we just get the banish, and there's just too many things that were just sniping her off straight away. So yeah, the ulna was a bit of cheese, but hey, it was pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Gwyneth. I really do want to test a low copy Gwyneth with a high copy Melion to see if that would work, but I feel like even that's niche. Once again, the issue with the dragon summons is just too big, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, that's my thoughts so far. Let me know any teams you guys want to test with Melion. I think it's pretty cool in general hero, but as always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.